you are already ahead of 95% of people if you know how to communicate confidently. And research proves it. Good communicators, they get better opportunities in life, they earn more money, and they build better relationships with friends and the opposite sex. But the problem is that most people never get good at communication because they don't know how to improve. But today, I will change that for you by giving you the 3 things you need to become an elite communicator. And the first point is how to overcome the real problem. And it's not your voice or that you are shy. The second point are the specific skills that you need to sound more charismatic and get people to listen to you. And then finally, the third point, the fastest way to become a confident and effective communicator. And this works even if you're introverted or you hate speaking. So grab your notebook, grab your pen, and let's get into it. For most of my life, my communication skills absolutely sucked. I used to be super shy. I never liked talking in front of other people. And I remember the first presentation I ever had. I was in 5th grade and I got assigned Spain as my country to do research on. I went all in. This was the first ever project that I was actually motivated to work for. So I made this document. It was 15 pages long. I added in photos. I even did a map. But there was a catch with all of this. And that was that by the end of this project, we all had to do a presentation in front of the class. Because this was my first ever presentation, I was kind of nervous. So I over-prepared. I did my notes. I practiced in front of the mirror. And I felt ready going into it. The presentation day comes. I walk in front of the class. The room is quiet. I look up at the class. I have 30 eyeballs staring at me. I have my notes. And as I'm about to say my first sentence, my brain shuts off. My face gets red. I forget everything that I had prepared to that moment. And I'm not sure how long I actually stood in front of the class. But eventually, I mumbled my way through my presentation and I felt ashamed. I tried not to cry. It was the most awkward moment of my life. And after class, my teacher pulled me aside. And he said something to me that I will never forget. Your document was amazing, but if you can't communicate it to others, it doesn't matter how smart you are. And that moment really stuck with me. And I didn't realize that at the time, but it's come to be one of the most life-changing moments of my life because it is very true. It doesn't matter how good or how smart you are, how much knowledge you have. If you can't communicate that to others, it's like winking a girl in the dark. Nothing happens. It was Warren Buffett who said that. And the thing I want you to take away here is that most of you can communicate effectively. You are probably a better communicator than you think. But when it's time for a conversation, or when it's time for you to speak in public, you get too tensed up. So the first point is that it's not your voice or that you're shy that is the problem. It's really your mental state. Because what I've learned since that moment is that most people are not bad at speaking. You might be quite good at communicating, but what is holding you back is tension. It's overthinking. It's being in your head, getting nervous in the moments where you need to speak. And think about it. You have been in a moment where you get nervous, your heart starts pounding, your throat tightens, and your mind goes blank, just like it did for me. You have been in that situation, but that's just anxiety. It's not a skill problem. Because you can also think of times where you've been with family or friends and you feel safe, you feel comfortable in that environment, and you're able to talk for hours. You're able to be confident, funny, and you're not thinking about other people judging you. It's the same brain, it's the same mouth. The only difference is how you feel in that moment. So before you try to learn these skills of how to speak better, we need to get over the fears that you have, because it doesn't matter how good you are at speaking. If you get nervous, you get tensed up and you forget all the skills that you've learned. So 2 good tips So before I teach you the skills you need to become a good communicator, we first need to control your state. There are two quick ways you can feel less nervous going into a conversation or a talk. The first one is to over-prepare. If you know 10 times more than what you're about to say, you just have all the knowledge in the world, you will feel a lot more confident about what you know, and this will immediately reduce your anxiety. The second thing you can do when you feel your body being more tense and you feel that you're starting to overthink is to simply relax your body. And this might sound simple, but this is a huge hack. When you relax your body, it signals to your brain that we are safe. And what you want to do here is to, first of all, you want to breathe deeply with your diaphragm. Ideally, you do this through your nose. Then you want to relax and lower your shoulders. Just relax. Relax your jaw. If you feel any part of your body being tense, just try to relax. If you do this right now, you will notice you immediately feel more calm. You feel more present in the moment. And when you feel present and grounded in the moment, you will be able to use all the skills that you've developed. You will access areas in your brain that you can't if you're stressed out. The reason why being anxious and being stressed in a moment is so bad for you is that your body goes into a fight or flight mode. Your cortisol rises, you get adrenaline in your body because your body thinks that there's a threat. There's something to either fight or run away from. And when you're in that state, your body can't think of the best way to communicate with others. And once you can control your nerves, it's time to build the skill set. And this is the second point. What you need to realize is that communication is just a stack of habits, and it's trainable. Just like any other skill, just like your muscles when you go to the gym, it's all trainable. And I want to give you the 80-20 of communication. These are the few fundamental skills that if you just learn these, you will be 80% there. You'll be better than 95% of people just by practicing these skills. And the first skill to master is pacing. You want to speak both fast and slow when you talk. If you talk at the same speed the whole time, people will zone out. It's too predictable. It's too monotone. This is how teachers usually speak when they're holding a lecture. And that is why most people think school is incredibly boring. But if you can switch up your speaking speed, you can speed faster, you can speed lower, and you can slow down when you want to make an important point. People will automatically listen to you. And this is the key for pacing. And the second point is loudness. You have to project your voice out to the world like you're speaking about the most important thing. Because if you just mumble, people will automatically assume that you don't believe in what you're saying. So just by speaking louder, it will increase your authority and people are much more interested in what you're going to say next. The third point is smiling and using more emotions. This is something that I don't hear many people talk about, but just smiling, it gives your speaking just a certain type of energy that people like. As humans, we like happy and positive people. And if someone is just excited, is using a lot of emotion, and is smiling when they speak, we just gravitate to that. It's just infectious. You know, smiling and being positive is just infectious. So use more emotion, smile when you speak, and people will think that you're trustworthy and likable. And the fourth point is pausing. Stop rushing when you speak. Speak slower. Pause more. Because when you speak this way, your words lands with a lot more impact. And you will come across being more confident and having more authority. Insecure and nervous people speak fast because they are afraid of getting interrupted. So they try to put everything that they want to say in this one short period of time. But that just shows that you're insecure and you're not confident that you can say your point without people interrupting you. If there's one thing you take from this video, it should be this. Instead of using filler words, just pause. It's unbelievable what it can do for you, but many people really struggle with this. And the fifth point is the hardest one to master, and that is voice control and tonality. But a simple thing you can do to instantly improve this is to end your sentences on a lower pitch. So instead of saying, I would like to add to that, which sounds like a question and that you're asking for permission, just say, I would like to add to that. So your pitch on the last words goes down. This increases your authority and you sound a lot more believable and confident. The sixth point is body language. According to research, up to 70% of our communication is solely based on body language. And body language is what you do with your hands, it's your facial expressions. But because we humans are very visual, we are visual creatures. We believe more in what we see than what we hear. This is critical. So this is something you just have to practice over time. But use your hands more. Try to match your gestures with the words you're saying. So if you're making 3 points, you show it like this. If you say that something has gone up, you can do this. You can show different levels like this. There are so many ways you can do it. I know Jordan Peterson, he talks like this, which sometimes looks a little bit funny, but it really adds to your communication skills a lot. And the one thing that most people overlook are your listening skills. To truly be a great communicator, you have to be a great listener. The most interesting people are the most interested. If you want to be a good communicator, you can improve your communication skills massively by just being curious about other people. Ask other people good questions because we love talking about ourselves. We love talking overall. Most people love yapping. So if you can just listen to them while they speak, they will think that you are the interesting one. This is the biggest charisma boost you can ever do. And now we get into the third part on becoming an elite speaker. But this is the step that most people skip because it's the hardest one. And you've probably heard that practice makes perfect. But that's actually wrong. Practice plus feedback makes perfect. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the reps. I think that's pretty obvious, and that's something you can agree with. But the biggest problem is not putting in the reps. It's actually getting the feedback. Because if you don't know what you're doing wrong, you're just training wrong habits over and over again. And to give you a good analogy, imagine someone tells you that they have 20 years of experience. From what I've seen, most people don't have 20 years of experience, even though they have been working at something for 20 years and on paper, it looks to be the case. What most people do is that they improve themselves for a certain period of time. Let's say for 1 year. So for 1 year, they are constantly learning, they're putting in the reps, and they're getting the feedback to become better. Their manager might be telling them what to improve on. But after the first year, if they don't get any feedback, they will just repeat those same behaviors 20 times over. So that person might have 20 years of experience on paper, but in reality, they just have 1 year of experience repeated 20 times. And this is the key to actually become good at communication. You need the feedback, and the absolute best way to get feedback is to work with a coach, to work with someone who knows their craft. And if you want my personal feedback on your speaking skills, you can click the link in the description and I will take a look and analyze the way you speak and tell you practical ways you can get better. But if you don't want to do that, you can also do it yourself. It will take longer, but it's definitely possible. And a great hack that I used to do in the past that my coach that I hired a couple of years ago actually gave me was a practice where you record yourself for 5 minutes every single day. And this is to improve your communication skills. First, you mute the video and you only look at your body language. How are you moving? How are you using your hands? How are your facial expressions looking? You only do that. So you analyze your body language first. Then you don't look at the video, you only listen to it, and you listen to how are you speaking. So what are your speaking skills essentially? And you listen to your pacing, your tonality, your pausing. And third, you take that video and you transcribe it onto paper. So you can do this with ChatGPT, for example. You transcribe your video and then you take a look at your filler words and the way you structure your speaking skills. But you can also do it yourself. It will just take a little bit longer. And a good way to do this is just to record yourself and then analyze how is your body language. So how are you using your hands, your facial expressions when you're speaking? Then listen to the words you're saying. How is your pacing? How is your tonality? Are you pausing? What is your articulation? Then another thing you can think about is also your filler words. Are you using many filler words? Are you speaking in a concise way? Or are you just yapping on, adding a bunch of fluff in? So just by being aware of how you speak is a way of analyzing yourself. This will work for you over time. The more often you can do it, the better. So if you really want to improve your communication skills, do this every single day for 30 days. Just record a 5-minute video every day, analyze that, and you will notice that you are improving day by day. And the best improvements come when you pick one thing to work on every single day. So when you start your recording tomorrow, just think of one thing you want to improve on. For example, pausing. I want to pause more when I speak about something. And the topic could be whatever. Ideally, it would be something that you know a lot about. To recap everything on how you become an elite speaker. First, control your nerves and your mental state. Secondly, focus on the fundamental skills of communication. And third, put in the reps and get feedback on what you do. Hope you found this video valuable. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more educational content on communication like this one. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.